Transcendence, according to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Introduction. Transcendence as a path to the divine. Transcendence is the call to go beyond the ordinary, the mundane, and the limited. It invites us to rise above the surface-level concerns of life and touch something far deeper, an ultimate reality, a higher truth, or a divine presence that guides all things. This quest for transcendence has intrigued philosophers for centuries, and in ancient Greece, three towering figures, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, each offered their own profound insights into this timeless pursuit. Much like the modern spiritual teachings that emphasize holistic understanding, the ideas of these philosophers invite us to look both within and beyond ourselves. In this exploration, we will journey through the philosophies of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, discovering how their wisdom resonates with the eternal human yearning to transcend the limits of our ordinary existence. Socrates, the midwife of inner transcendence. Socrates, often called the father of Western philosophy, did not leave written works of his own. Instead, his teachings come to us through the dialogues of his student Plato. Socrates' method, known as the dialectical approach or Socratic questioning, offers a pathway to inner transcendence, urging individuals to rise above ignorance and awaken to deeper truths. The immortal soul. For Socrates, transcendence is closely tied to the soul. He believed that the soul is immortal and exists beyond the boundaries of physical death. In Plato's Phaedo, we see Socrates exploring the idea that the soul, long before it enters the body, is in communion with eternal truths. This knowledge becomes hidden after birth, but through philosophical inquiry and self-examination, we can remember these eternal truths and transcend the limitations of the physical world. Socrates argued that this journey of the soul continues even after death, as the soul is destined to return to the realm of truth and knowledge. The belief in the soul's immortality suggests that true transcendence lies in recognizing and reconnecting with the eternal aspects of existence, where the temporal gives way to the infinite. The pursuit of wisdom. For Socrates, the pursuit of wisdom is the key to transcendence. His famous assertion that the unexamined life is not worth living reveals his conviction that philosophical self-inquiry is not merely a mental exercise, but a sacred path toward transcending ignorance and connecting with higher understanding. Through dialogue and questioning, Socrates helped individuals unearth deeper layers of truth, stripping away the illusions that cloud perception. In this sense, the Socratic path to transcendence is less about discovering external divine realms and more about accessing inner wisdom. The soul's ascent is an inward journey, one that transcends the distractions of everyday life and moves toward a state of clarity, virtue, and understanding. Plato, the transcendent realm of forms. While Socrates emphasized self-examination, his student Plato expanded this concept into a broader metaphysical vision. For Plato, transcendence is not only an inward journey, but also an ascent toward a higher, unchanging realm, the world of forms. The Allegory of the Cave. Plato's famous Allegory of the Cave, found in his work, The Republic, serves as a powerful metaphor for transcendence. In this allegory, prisoners are chained inside a cave, forced to see only shadows cast on the wall by the light of a distant fire. These shadows represent the illusions and misconceptions of the material world. One prisoner escapes the cave and, after much difficulty, ascends to the surface where he sees the sun and the true world. This allegory symbolizes the soul's transcendence from the world of appearances to the world of ultimate reality, the world of forms. The prisoner's ascent from darkness into light represents the journey of the philosopher who, through reason and contemplation, transcends the physical world to grasp eternal truths. The theory of forms. At the heart of Plato's philosophy is the theory of forms, which posits that the physical world is a reflection of a higher, perfect realm of forms or ideas. According to Plato, everything in our material world is an imperfect copy of its corresponding form. For instance, all beautiful objects partake in the form of beauty, but none perfectly embody it. To transcend the physical world is to come into contact with these eternal forms, which are the ultimate realities. Plato believed that the philosopher, through contemplation and intellectual inquiry, can ascend to this higher realm. Understanding the forms enables one to transcend the transient and connect with that which is unchanging and perfect. The form of the good. At the pinnacle of Plato's hierarchy of forms is the form of the good, which he describes as the source of all other forms and the ultimate reality that illuminates everything else, much like the sun in the allegory of the cave. The form of the good is not just an abstract concept, but a transcendent principle that gives meaning and purpose to all things. To grasp the form of the good is the highest form of knowledge and the ultimate act of transcendence. It represents the philosopher's union with the divine, the source of all truth, wisdom, and being. Aristotle, Transcendence through Actualization and the Unmoved Mover. In contrast to Socrates and Plato, Aristotle approached transcendence from a more grounded, naturalistic perspective. While Aristotle acknowledged the existence of a higher, divine principle, he rejected Plato's notion of a separate realm of forms. For Aristotle, transcendence is found within the natural world through the actualization of potential. Rejection of separate forms. Aristotle argued that the essence of things does not exist in a separate transcendent realm, but within the objects themselves. Instead of positing a world beyond the physical, he focused on understanding how objects in the material world develop and change. Transcendence, for Aristotle, is not about escaping the physical world, but about realizing the inherent potential within it. Potentiality and actuality. Central to Aristotle's philosophy is the idea of potentiality and actuality. Every object, every being, contains within it the potential to become something greater, and transcendence is the process of actualizing that potential. For instance, an acorn has the potential to become a mighty oak tree. Similarly, humans have the potential to develop wisdom, virtue, and a higher understanding of life. For Aristotle, true transcendence is the process of moving from a state of potentiality to one of full actuality, realizing one's highest potential through reason, ethics, and the cultivation of wisdom. The unmoved mover. Aristotle's concept of the unmoved mover represents the ultimate cause of all motion and change in the universe. The unmoved mover is a transcendent being that initiates all action without itself being changed. This divine principle stands as the final cause of everything, the source of all life and motion, existing beyond the limitations of physical change. Though immanent in the world as the source of all movement, the unmoved mover is also transcendent, representing a perfect and eternal reality that is both the beginning and the ultimate end. For Aristotle, contemplation of this divine being is the highest form of intellectual activity and a form of transcendence itself. Integrating ancient wisdom into modern transcendence. The timeless wisdom of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle offers us profound guidance for our own spiritual journeys today. Just as these ancient philosophers sought to transcend the limitations of ordinary existence, so too do modern spiritual practices emphasize the importance of self-inquiry, intellectual contemplation, and the actualization of potential. The inner journey. In the vein of Socratic introspection, we are reminded that true transcendence begins within. Modern practices like mindfulness and self-inquiry echo Socrates' call to know thyself. By questioning our assumptions and engaging in deep self-reflection, we can transcend the limitations of the ego and access higher states of awareness. Seeking ultimate reality. Plato's vision of a higher realm of eternal truths resonates with the modern spiritual quest for ultimate reality. In contemporary spirituality, this often translates into the search for a universal consciousness or divine presence that transcends the material world. Whether through meditation, prayer, or philosophical inquiry, the desire to connect with the infinite mirrors Plato's longing for the realm of forms. Actualizing potential. Aristotle's emphasis on actualizing potential is particularly relevant in the modern context of personal development. The idea that we each contain the seeds of greatness and that through effort, discipline, and wisdom we can grow into our fullest selves speaks to the human aspiration for transcendence. The path of self-actualization is, in many ways, a modern version of Aristotle's call to live in accordance with virtue and reason. Epilogue: Embracing the Transcendent Journey. The teachings of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle offer us a roadmap for the journey of transcendence. Whether through Socratic self-examination, Platonic contemplation of higher truths, or Aristotelian actualization of potential, the path to transcendence is one that calls us to rise above our limitations and touch the divine. By integrating these ancient insights with modern spiritual practices, we can embark on a profound journey of self-discovery, ultimate reality, and boundless possibility, embracing the fullness of our existence and the transcendence that lies within and beyond us.